Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Finally, we're here. DPL Season 6. But more importantly, patch 7.20. It is, of course, MLPDota, joined by johnxfire. John, I'll tell you what, mate, it's about bloody time we've gotten to this point.
Yeah, you know what, Mike? I'm really excited to see these games go on. I mean, we've got two good teams up here for our first series of the day. And we've got a new patch. It's been a while, Mike. And just going through the bans, aren't these interesting? Look at all these different heroes popping up in the bans. You have Doom, first phase ban, Undying as well. Not too surprising with the Undying, but Bounty Hunter and Dazzle being banned out by Aster. So already we see that shake up. And, you know, the Grimstroke ban out by LGD. So it's exciting for me, Mike. And I'm just glad to be here, you know. New patch, new set of heroes coming into the show. It's going to be really fun to watch this one unfold, Mike.
Yeah, and I mean, as casters, John, obviously some patches are better than others. And that patch that we were just in, 7.19, you know, I'm not going to lie, John, we were bored as hell, you know, casting those games over and over again. It's just the Terrorblade versus Morphling, the PLs, all this garbage. And finally we're here where they've just mixed everything up. It feels like Dota 1 all over again. And more importantly, we'll see what these teams do with those changes. We do see the Silencer Shadow Demon being picked up by either team. Thing is, by the way, for the viewers, John, we should mention, obviously the patch just came out the other day. We've read over it quite a few times, the patch notes. We don't remember everything. So you have to excuse us if we start reading in the middle of the game to see why things happen, but just a word of warning, just in case you see us reading things. But anyway, John, these picks, nothing too special quite yet.
Yeah, nothing quite yet. Just fairly safe from both sides. None of these heroes are really too surprising. We've seen the Silencer pop out even in the last patch. I don't think he was changed too much either. Same with Shadow Demon, really. He wasn't changed too drastically in this patch. So, pretty safe opening from both PSG and from Aster. Although I do believe there was an earlier tournament today, Mike, was just not streamed in. I believe Aster was playing there, and LGD was as well. And I checked the record. Aster did pick up the Grimstroke there, so that would explain the ban out from LGD. Although, surprisingly, Aster did lose with Grimstroke, so, well, I was hoping to see how the hero would cope in Captain's mode with pro players, but won't see that chance now. Still a lot of heroes that could still pop out, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, there's still 3 different series to cast anyway, so 3 best of 2s tonight that we'll get to see. I'm sure Grimstroke will pop up in one of them, but even then, like, the new patch, there's so... John, we played like 2 or 3 games, didn't we? And it was just, it was terrifying, wasn't it? It was, every game we had, we lost sub 30 minutes. One of them was our first game was against Meepo, which was fun, because it was just, you can't win. And then we versed a Troll Warlord, I believe, and we got destroyed by him. Did we play 3 games? Regardless,
Yeah, we
John.
did.
I don't remember. Rubik is the pickup by LGD, of course, FY on his signature Rubik. This makes me excited, but John, was there many changes with Rubik? I don't think there was, if I remember correctly.
Not too many. Again, probably one of the lighter changes. One of the heroes that got fairly few, if any, tweaks at all. But it's a really safe opening from LGD. I have to say they've probably placed themselves in a bit of a binary here. Unless they're running a core Silencer or a core Rubik, possible. And they've picked up what seems to be their 2 supports. Although, again, there's some flexibility in this opening from LGD, so they might play it a bit differently. We'll find out as the draft goes on, of course. Aster still has a bit more, you know, I mean, the Shadow Demon's not as flexible. It's definitely going to be pos 4, pos 5. I think we have seen a couple of teams try to run it core in the past patch, Mike. Maybe once we've seen it run as a core, at the very least, or it ended up having core-like farm. But, you know, you're pretty much guaranteed to see this hero being played as a support. So it's a bit more... It's a bit less flexible from Aster so far. You do still have a lot of heroes that can come out in this phase to complement that Shadow Demon. I think one really popular one is definitely the Luna. It's a very big possibility here for Aster. No ban out in that first phase. The Shadow Demon came out. LGD opted to not pick that Luna up for themselves. So Aster does have the opportunity to get that combination running, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to correct myself, by the way, John. Rubik did have a decent change. that we forgot about. They changed Nullfield to Arcane Supremacy, so he basically 26% spell amp against your enemies, and all debuffs last 44% longer at max, which is pretty ridiculous. But that and a bunch of other like stat increases or decreases, as well as the cast point being changed for spells still, but that's pretty much it. Tree and Protector, the secondary pickup for Aster. So it feels like things are still sort of similar to the last meta right now. Obviously, we just got into the new patch, so it's sort of expected that they wouldn't be changing too much up. And the Tree and Protector had a little rework regarding the Nature's Geist, but that's, yeah, he's got the tree walking ability, I guess. It's different, John. It's very different, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like that much.
I'd say it's pretty significant for your laning. You can be in much more, much more places than you could have been before. In some sense, does give him just a bit more utility in that sense. I'm kind of surprised that Aster and LG both open up with their supports first. Again, a bit of a change up from the last patch where usually you'd see a flex pick in this first phase. You wouldn't really lock yourself into two supports. Maybe one of these picks from Aster is a flex pick. They might consider running a offlane Treant. I believe that is what you usually tend to do when you try to run a Treant core, which is a possibility. I was really expecting the Luna to come out, especially with the changes to her aura. I feel like it's a pretty strong hero, and it kind of it's changed. The aura's just changed just enough to make it a bit weird to play into.
It's pretty substantial. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous in a way. I think the comparison was I was reading up on it, and it was kind of like once you've got the talent with the Luna as well, you basically, like, strength heroes have a free Heart of Tarask, like that 40 strength that they get. Mind you, that was slightly nerfed a few hours ago. Magnus will be the pickup, John, though. PSG.LGD, not really changing it up too much. It's still very reminiscent of the last meta. And Magnus, I believe the only change he had was to the Shockwave, where it drags you in a bit closer from the Shockwave cast point.
Yeah, there's some repositioning with the Shockwave now, so you can do some funky stuff with it. Probably set up for your skewer, or just set up for putting people out of place, which is pretty nice, I guess, as a utility tool. It does have that. It's not just a wave clear anymore, so it has some utility in it as well. Should be interesting to see how LGD maximize that here in this context. And, it opens up their draft a bit. They have Silencer to start the team fight, or, yeah. Basically, you start with Gold with Silence, you jump in with Magnus with the RP, and you take the team fight from there. A lot of heroes are opened up for LGD with this Magnus pickup that aren't banned out. The Troll Warlord is definitely a very big option for LGD right now.
Well, John, there you have it as well. You called it. The Luna, in combination with the Shadow Demon, a very old combo to have thanks to those illusions and the glaive bounces, but so much stronger now with that aura update, as we were talking about just a minute ago. How do you feel about it now with Team Aster? Like, it may be like kind of like a one-trick pony that we're going to see here with the Luna Shadow Demon, but it's a pretty damn strong pony, John.
It definitely is. I'm interested to see how they run their lanes. If it's going to be dual lanes, Luna Shadow Demon should do a fair bit, and LGD goes to Juggernaut, Mike. A hero I like.
Feels good seeing that man back in the meta. You called it as well. Like you said, there was carries that was still available with the Magnus. I mean, again, another old combination to have the Empowered Juggernaut available at your disposal. It's going to be fun to see these heroes finally coming out. But John, you've got to tell me who looks better right now.
I'd have to say, even with a reworked Luna, I feel like Magnus Juggernaut is just a combination that's tried and tested. Sure, you have the Shadow Demon Luna. I just feel like when it comes down to team fights and, comes down to control, I feel like I do favor the Juggernaut a bit. Although, with Ursa thrown in, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to deal with him quite well, especially if he's standing around the Luna. He gets quite a fair bit of strength, right? He is a strength hero, unless I'm recalling very, very badly. So yeah, he will be quite tanky with his ultimate up as well. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to burst him down even with Omni Slash. And Aster can push fairly fast. I mean, it's a Luna Shadow Demon strat. Yeah. So they can push fast. They can hold their towers quite well with Tree and Protector. And they get pretty decent, vision with Tree and Protector walking around.
Yeah. Well, John, I just adjusted the audio just because I thought the volume was a bit low, and now LGD's draft is currently frozen, which is nice. Their characters stopped moving. Team Aster, though, they're still moving, which is... Are we still in beta, John? Is that what it is? Is Dota 2 still in beta?
Yeah, the folder is still Dota 2 beta, on my PC at the very least. So, and I just reinstalled it. I keep having to reinstall because, well, yeah, I do stuff, and the PC doesn't like it.
No.
Still Dota 2 beta for me. I'm not for everyone else, so
Yeah.
You can't blame the game, Mike.
Team Aster. Last pick, or last ban out for them, excuse me. 20 seconds left. They won't have too much time to really decide that last pick, but I'm sure they've already got something in mind. It does appear they're looking for a mid-core to run. The question is, what will it be? I mean, you obviously you want someone that can combo well with that Treant Shadow Demon. Like, because the Luna comes online late game with the Shadow Demon, right? But in the early to mid, you really want someone to be able to set up with that the disruption. And Aster? Well, apparently not. They'll go for the Dragon Knight. Another very safe pick.
I do like the Dragon Knight pickup here. I feel like it rounds out the draft quite well. They have really strong early push. They can take the Roshan really early. With map changes, I feel like the Treant Protector should be able to get a lot more done in that laning phase, walking around the jungle, making sure he spots out where people are going. But LGD goes to something safe that works quite well with Magnus once again. The Monkey King last pick.
It is going to work out quite well, I feel. It's against the DK, against the Ursa. Even closing that distance against the Luna, like, it's going to be fantastic. Whew, I mean, of course, LGD are the favorites. Like, we can't lie here. You know, TI8 runner-ups, of course, they're the favorites here. But, you know, Aster, they could surprise us, John. There's been a lot of people speaking about Aster and the potential they have as time goes on. We'll see how they go against a team like LGD, though. But, John, final words on the draft before we get into the game. Who do you predict wins this one?
It's hard for me to say. I feel like Aster might be able to take the towers a bit too fast compared to LGD, where they kind of rely on pretty long cooldowns. They need a global silence up, they're going to need the RP up, and the blink on Chalice. They're going to have at least a decent farm on Ame and the Monkey King to be able to do a lot of work in those team fights. Not too much, but again, they really ride a lot on Chalice having a blink, or at least hitting level 6 quite fast. Of course, you have FY in his signature Rubik. That's going to do, he's going to do a lot in that hero. But Aster does have the tools to slow down a push and get a push going for themselves quite fast, and contesting Roshan quite well with the Ursa. So I honestly have to say, just on basis of draft, I feel like Aster's is a bit stronger in that sense, where they can really just take objectives. They're not limited by cooldowns, except on maybe Dragon Knight. Whereas LGD does rely on that RP Global Silence to get anything really going in 5v5 teamfight. And they push quite well with Jug. It's no Luna. It's no Luna Dragon Knight.
Well, we'll go into the game. Like you said, really anyone's game at this point. The drafts are a bit more interesting than usual, which is going to be fun. John, I was about to ask you, FY on that Rubik. We know it's a signature hero. He's fantastic at it at that. But do you really see any spells in general that he really wants to go for, like this with the spell steal?
Nah, I mean, I guess every single spell from Treant's gonna be nice. Overgrowth shouldn't be too hard to steal as a Rubik. Even if you don't get the Overgrowth, Leech Seed's pretty decent. You'd probably prefer Living Armor. I'd say your main priority in targeting for spell steal at the very least is probably gonna be Fenrir on that Treant. Grab his utility spells, add some more teamfight to your own kit. Basically, now I don't think you're going to be too unhappy stealing anything from Shadow Demon either. The worst thing's probably Shadow Poison. You're going to have a good time with Disruption for control, which, you don't really lack too much on LGD, but more control is always nice, especially if you can guarantee the kill once they're outside Disruption. You can also clone the Juggernaut to get your push going really fast, almost as fast as the Luna, but not quite. So there are a decent amount of utility spells to steal. Nothing big and flashy, but it can make the difference for LGD.
Yeah. And in case, for any viewers that haven't played the new patch yet, of course, on the map there are plenty of terrain changes, as I'm trying to show you right now while we're paused. And essentially what it's done, I think we can both agree, John, that it's made the jungle a lot safer to farm for either side for their carries or cores. So it does make it, because you do have that uphill advantage, it does mean you're just slightly safer. You've got a bit more vision than the enemies if they are trying to gank you up. So there you have it. Couple changes to the map, actually pretty significant if you do think about it. And of course the neutral creeps, excuse me, they were some of them were switched up. I believe the ancient stack is now closer to the shrine, and then you have a medium stack up more towards the north if you're looking at that radiant end map.
Yeah, the map shift up is definitely a bit different. I think it's gonna take a bit of time for us to really see the implications of such a really wild shakeup in that jungle. See how it affects the rotations, how it affects when you prioritize your pulls, when exactly is it safe for the sports to walk around. I have to say it's pretty disorienting. Not having those certain areas just being flat now instead of being on low ground. Your vision game changing, location of camps shifting just slightly. It's gonna be interesting to see how these teams tackle this shakeup. I feel like it's going to be a bit odd for the first few times, but
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to see a lot more activity in the jungle because of this.
Certainly so. Because we still do have some connection issues on the side of LGD right now. Just trying to have a look to see if any of the heroes have major changes, but they really don't. I mean, apart from the Jug, I suppose we could talk about. The Omni Slash was changed. I know you like this change as well, John. You were quite happy with that. The fact that they turned it into like more of a duration rather than the number of slashes.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely very useful. It helps Juggernaut scale into that late game because the amount of slashes you had was really the limiting factor. Like if you had a certain attack speed, you could only squeeze so much more in. With the amount of slashes you had in your ultimate now, with a bit more attack speed, you can definitely let off a lot more. So it's a bit interesting to see. I feel like the jungle change up probably helps as well because it's a bit safer for Jug to just go in and out. And the item shakeup should be interesting to see how it affects him because he wants to come online early. And it seems like with this patch, you are pretty much happy as a core to get 2 fast rate bans and just start farming up faster, helping in team fights.
Oh, bot jungle, John. Looks like Somnus may already be in trouble. XXS making the chase. He obviously tried to go for a mischief dodge just then. That is another small change that happened. You actually have that invulnerability for, I believe it's 0.3 seconds after you use mischief. So, well, he does get away. He just walks his way out. He didn't really dodge anything per se, but keep an eye out for that one. Being invulnerable, if you're quick enough, that 0.3 seconds could really save your life and really determine a team fight.
Yeah, definitely can do that. And, it's already paid off for our Monkey King here. He has managed to run away quite happily, waste a bit of time. Does not grab a rune, but both teams just get 2 runes each anyway, so ends out fairly okay.
Does look like it'll be the DK being played by Lover and, of course, Somnus on that Monkey King up against each other. Ultimately, I guess we're probably going to agree that this will probably be like a lane where they trade evenly, but it does feel like the Monkey King should just really take over with that Jingu Mastery.
It's one of the lanes where I feel like the Dragon Knight's not going to run away with it. Probably not going to trade as evenly as he would with other matchups, for sure. It takes a while for him to really catch up and get his sustain going, but once that sustain is up, I feel like, again, it just comes down to almost a draw, as it usually tends to be with DK lanes.
Yeah. Chalice, bot lane right now, pretty much by himself, actually. They are running a bit of a tri-lane up top. We do see X-Nova is there with FY, and they are supporting Arme. And they will, in fact, run a tri-lane versus tri-lane. Aster brings up Fenrir as well. So, at least we're out of the 2-1-2 meta, John. XXS copying a lot of harassment, though, from Chalice. He went under the T1 tower for some reason. And, in fact, he might actually end up falling. In fact, no, I thought the skewer may have been off cooldown, but he had previously used it. And that's why XXS was under the tower. Meanwhile, top lane, however, Boca did find himself in a spot of bother. He will get out. We'll have to keep a close eye on this top lane, because, I mean, both these sides, they want to get the upper hand here. And, well, another thing that happened in this patch, John, the hero kills mean a hell of a lot more in the laning stage now.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. And when you're running a tri-lane, you know, you have 6 heroes here, someone's bound to die.
Yeah. Nice lift there from FY, though. They couldn't really follow up on Arme on that Juggernaut. I don't know, it's kind of like, how do you even set up the spin for Arme? Like, you've got the lift available, but then it'll be a straight disruption afterwards. And it's just going to lead into nothing, it feels like. Though, Aster, looks like they probably have a higher chance of maybe finding the first blood in this top lane. They do get a disruption off. But Arme, it's going to deal a bit of harassment. That's really all it's there for. He's just going to walk away and just get back to farming.
Yeah, again, both teams just kind of trying to posturate each other, not really getting too much. They are wasting a lot of regen on both sides. I think the one thing that really hurts these tri-lanes, though, is definitely the EXP distribution right now. You do have Sylar still stuck on level 1. He should hit level 2 fairly soon, but that one level advantage is going to hurt him for a while. Again, less stats, going to be a bit harder to last hit for a while, and Ame just gets to farm a bit easier.
It goes back to what we just talked about, though, doesn't it? Like, you can't just run a tri-lane and hit creeps and expect to be fine. Like, once you get those hero kills going, that's when the XP really starts to escalate. And again, you see Fenrir, he tries to start harassing up X-Nova. X-Nova will walk away pretty fine. Baboka falling very low himself, but he'll be alright as well. So it's like both teams are just waiting for a couple more levels. Silas still sitting at level 1, about to hit level 2, it seems. And there we go. He's now level 2. Level 1 Lucent Beam will be up and ready to go. And still, 3.5 minutes in, no first blood going on. Although we could be close right now, but Boca literally sitting at 1/3 of his HP. Fenrir is there to protect. Arme doesn't want to really go under his tier 1 tower. They'll get started. The Fade Bolt was there. And Nova is there by himself. FY is going for the chase on Baboka. They won't find him. The last word did do a bit of damage, but it wasn't quite enough. And they really did want that lift to come out from FY, but he wasn't in range for it. And with that, Arme, he's going to really start taking over this lane. Like, he is getting a bit too much farm.
He definitely is getting a bit too much relative to that Luna right now. 19 to 9 compared to 12 to 1. Ame is having a much better time in this lane. He's getting a lot more XP, a lot more early farm as a Juggernaut. In fact, as a core, really, you're going to have a good time once you hit early Wraith Bands to just stat up and help your farm. Really value now. So he's going to have pretty good timing on his first Wraith Band.
Mid lane, Somnus got very, very aggressive. Nice juke out there from Lover. You can see Somnus, he's well and truly ahead. 32 last hits in comparison to the 17 of Lover on that DK. And that Jingu Mastery again, John, it's just every time he gets the 3 stacks, he just has to back off. Otherwise, he's just going to be in way too much danger. And as well as that, the Somnus, he's already got 2 of those Wraith Bands now, which we know are so much more valuable. They're basically the replacement for the Aquila. Actually, top lane. Hold that thought, because Fenrir, looks like he was trying to go on X-Nova, but they both end up backing off the safety. But what I was trying to say, John, is with those double Wraith Bands, it's really hard to contest when you're this DK and you had to go for a first item Soul Ring.
Yeah, that does put the DK at a pretty significant disadvantage. He does not get the stat padding, does not get that bonus attack speed to help him last hit. He basically just really relies on Breathe Fire, which does hurt the Monkey King quite a fair bit, as you know, he is mainly a right-click kind of carry and right-click kind of hero, so he depends on those right-clicks to get his farm. But when he has Phase Boots and 2 Wraith Bands, it's not as much of an issue as it usually is.
No. Aster now. We do see the double Wraith Band coming out onto Sala as well, so with that, with those added stats, he should be able to right-click and deal a bit more damage to the enemy heroes. In fact, they might have a go right now. X-Nova, he was a bit too far up, but no, it was a bait. They lift him up. The spin is there as well, but the disruption comes out immediately. Arme, can he still find it? Looks like they will, and they will get the first blood. Sila ends up going down. Now Baboka as well. Fenrir, the last one left, and he gets taken as well. Arme, double kill for him. But more importantly, they just cleared the whole lane of heroes in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, just one small misstep coming out, one really aggressive play coming out from Sylar, and you know, one beautiful bait coming out from X-Nova. And suddenly, 3 kills for first blood at 6 minutes in from something that was relatively just back and forth harass. It ends up being a bloodbath. Really good start for Xnova. 6 int off the bat. And, as a silencer, you do enjoy stealing that int. Good start for him. Ame is definitely very happy. Really just going far and away from that Luna in terms of form. Of course, Luna can catch up with a decent timing on Mask of Madness. It's just that this is a fairly rocky start for Luna.
Well, it looks like they do rotate down bot lane, so Sylar realizes he can't farm at the top lane anymore. And John, look at the level difference. And we talked about how those hero kills give you a lot of XP. Sylar's level 3, and you look at the Juggernaut, he's level 4. The Silencer almost level 4. In fact, hold that thought, Chalice going to be in trouble. XXS is here, and they will take him out. There was nothing Xnova could do to help out in that situation. And XXS, a very nice rotation over. And at least with this, I suppose Sylar will be able to catch up quite a fair bit, but still, you just look at the heroes of LGD right now, and Somnus still at the top of the last hits board by a mile. He's literally over double what Lover has on this DK. And look at the aggression. FY's there as well. Somnus making the chase down. They're healing him up the best they can, but Somnus, yeah, he's just going to smack him with the big pole. And with that, it's a 4-1 now. 2k net worth advantage, 8 minutes in. And we'll see what Aster can really do about this.
Yeah, it's a really rough start. 2k net worth advantage for LGD. And really that comes down to denies giving you gold as well. Look how many denies the Juggernaut has. Ame has 23 denies. That's actually...
Xnova's down, but in fact not quite yet, because maybe is there, and FY is also there, and it looks like they're going to find Sylar again on that Luna and Fenrir. Well, I don't know if he gets out of this one. As long as they have detection, he's dead, and they don't even need it. They just boundless strike. He will end up falling, and again, like, you risk 2 lives for the sake of taking down a Silencer. I get it. It's like we need to kill some heroes to get that golden XP up, but when you lose your carry again, and then you lose another support with it, it's going to be really painful during the mid-game.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be very painful in the mid-game. It's already really painful in the early game for our Luna. Sylar really not doing too well right now. 28-6. Just brown boots and 2 rate bands. Nowhere near that Mask of Madness, so his farm won't accelerate anytime soon.
Yeah, and they commit the RP mid lane onto the DK, so Lover trying to make a run for it. He did have a couple stick charges there, but can they do some magic damage? He's actually quite tanky, but Chalice will find him. Now, the disruption is there onto Somnus. Can he get out? Yeah, probably can. He just walks out of there, though. XXS making the chase. There's no lift available quite yet. Now the Boundless Strike as well. With that Jingu Mastery, actually heals himself up a bit, but he will end up losing his own life. XXS will, however, find the trade. Excuse me, they do find the trade onto XXS. Still, I feel like that was well worth it for the side of Aster. I mean, they're so behind right now. You kill that top net worth hero on the opposing side. Again, it does mean a hell of a lot for your team.
Yeah, XXS got a bit more from that, even though he died. So I'd say it's worthwhile. You want to kind of build up on one of your snowball heroes at the very least. Building up on the Ursa is pretty good. Once he has his Blink Dagger, of course, he can just clear Rush by himself. He does have that mask up, so he can pretty much just solo it when he wants to. Blink should help him initiate as well, and they're really going aggressive here for Aster. Smoke up on Boboka and XXS, trying to find a move.
I think they need to do this, John. I think they realize this is the way to go with their draft, especially. They might find FY, and in fact, Somnus, he ends up finding Fenrir, and now mid lane, it looks like they will find FY. He's completely surrounded. He will end up dropping. Of course, top lane, the kill we did miss, Somnus ended up finding the tree, and actually FY buys back. Buys back, comes back into the mid lane, though. Lover says, I'll take a dieback if you want to give it to me, but Ame is there. And now the whole side of LGD are TPing into this mid lane. I understand they wanted to engage and punish them for taking down FY, but I mean, they really get nothing out of it unless they can take this tier 1 tower. So they are there to try and defend this, and Chalice seems pretty confident. Skewers in, RP, he didn't commit it. Now the Omni as well, but he's hitting creeps right now, and they still can't find Lover on this DK. He's just making a run up. He'll just go straight towards his shrine. They probably will end up getting that tier 1 tower. It looks like the top tier 1 tower ends up getting denied by XXS. I suppose this is worth it for LGD, in the sense they're getting objectives, but rather strange though.
Yeah, definitely a bit aggressive for LGD. Not a move I expected from FY. I feel like if he was gonna go for a team fight there, maybe wait for the TPs first before you buy back. But, you know, what's done is done. What that does do for Aster, though, it did buy some time for Siler to get some farm going. So he does, have, at the very least, have his power treads up, along with his 2 rate bands, which he had earlier. So farming jungle shouldn't be too hard now. He still can't clear ancient stacks once they're up, but he should be able to at least clear a few camps by himself.
Mid lane, Sylar. You're right. Lover is there just in case they want to engage further. Man, he's already picked up that Yasha. I do wonder, is he going to go for that standard Manta style that we're used to seeing, or is he going to go for one of those new combinations of the Sanjin Yasha that that has come out in 7.20? Fenrir gonna spot him out. He's gonna stick around, but nobody's really there to help out if Fenrir wanted to engage. Arme would probably just rip him apart. And it looks like they will just allow him to keep farming. The bot lane, Baboka will get caught out. There are 4 heroes there. There's just no way out of that situation. It looks like LGD are ready to take their 3rd tier 1 tower of the map. Lover, the only one at the bot lane right now, so they might have to send a few more peeps down to defend this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they definitely should, but XXS right now is trying to clear out Roche. I think that's a bigger priority to contest for LGD. XXS does spot out the TPs and he backs off, but he's not quite aware of that ward yet. They do ping it out now, but he was spotted earlier, which was why he was contested.
Yeah, some nice warding going on from the side of LGD and Aster for that matter. Though it does feel like Aster lose out a bit in not taking that Roshan. With the old patch on, we used to talk about how important it was when you do pick up an Ursa. Like the priority for getting that Roshan quickly was just so massive. And the longer time goes on, the more opportunity LGD has to catch up and be able to take Roshan down themselves. And so we'll see how Aster approaches that situation. Looks like the side of LGD will start pushing in the tier 2 top tower. That Empower on both your cores, they hit very, very hard.
Yeah, that tower is just really melting quite fast. Forced to use the fort and rotate a couple of heroes up. No cores with him though.
Yeah, I mean, Fenrir is waiting. His team is running up. Baboka is smoked up as well, and it looks like LGD understand that something's wrong. They had an observer ward there anyway, so they spotted one hero running up and they decided, let's back out of here. Meanwhile, XXS, he has returned to that Roche pit. I don't know if he's going to get away with this though. It looks like he will though. FY, no, he doesn't know. He's going to have to let it be. Meanwhile, RP was there onto the Luna. Now the Boundless Strike as well as the Skewer. They bring him straight down that hill, and it looks like Sylar will end up losing his life. The disruption only saved him for so long. With that tier 2 tower, I mean, you got the Aegis, sure, but your tier 2 is just going to go down.
Yeah, they do lose their tier 1 for that on bot lane. I don't think it's too relevant now, considering where they're spending most of their time in this map. It does give Aster a bit of an advantage in that bot lane, as they do still hold their tier 1. But again, they've lost so many towers on the map that that one lane is probably not going to be too much. Again, they've lost their top area. The jungle is pretty much open for LGD to roam around in. It's going to be much harder to take that Roshan. Ever since they lost that mid tier 1, it was already kind of hard. But without that top tier 2 as well to secure that roaming area, it's just much harder to, you know, secure your top space for your Ursa to walk up to.
Yeah. LGD, they're in that position. The position of power, really. They can just move forward, feel comfortable that they're going to win every team fight. Looks like the Sanjin Yasha was the pickup for Arme, so they do switch it up a bit with this Jug. I do like that. The DK does manage to pick up a Blink Dagger, which is being couriered out right now. And we do see the Luna. She does finish the Mask of Madness up. Now, mind you, John, it is almost 16 minutes in. This is not the greatest of timing for a Mask of Madness on the Luna. And, well, Sylar, I do wonder how fast he's able to catch up with that net worth. Because right now, he's below that halfway point. And to make matters worse, there's a smoke coming in. LGD, they see him, but the smoke is broken. They ping him out. Sylar, he will manage to get out of there though. Fenrir, will he be so lucky? Absolutely not. No, in fact, he will. They skewer, but they miss out. I'm not sure if that was actually... It was a blind skewer. He was in that little gap between the trees there, so the sentry did not actually spot him per se. They knew he was around, And now Aster, they will smoke up themselves. Who do they catch out though? Looks like they may have a go onto the support. Silencer, X-Nova will end up going down. Now the DK jumps in with the stun. Chalice will be the target apparently, but he's pretty tanky. Now Lover, he'll cop the Omni. There's the disruption to help him out. And the overgrowth is there as well. Wukong's command comes in though, and they found the Ursa. Meanwhile, Lover is falling quite fast. XXS, he will end up losing his Aegis. Lover, he does not get away. Chalice found him with the Shockwave, and now they want XXS again. RP is committed for this, and why the hell not? Though Enrage is there. He gets lifted up, and he should definitely be dead, but the disruption does save him for a bit more, and he will finally end up falling. Now they want even more. Baboka is going for the TP. Chalice, he actually had no skewer, and the Boundless Strike was just a millisecond off. But with that, a 13-4, the net worth remains 5k the way of LGD. And I've got to say, I mean, that was just a massive win for the side of LGD. I think they only ended up getting X-Nova throughout all of that.
Yeah, they only get X-Nova. He does buy back anyway. Comes in, and he does his work. Grabs the int, and you lose your Aegis. You lose your Ursa twice over. The one issue with Aster right now is that they're so far behind, and they have to play catch-up in what feels like a very high-tempo game.
Yeah, look at
right?
mid lane.
They're losing a lot from map control.
They're just harassing Lover right now, so even if you wanted to try and catch up with that net worth, John, it's just, they're not allowing it. That Monkey King, the vision he gives, the mobility, it's just so damn hard. Bot lane as well, Sylar, trying to farm up the enemy jungle, but well, they scan out, they will notice one rotation. So Chalice does end up backing off anyway. I just don't know how exactly you come back into this game. Like, ultra late game, sure. Like, we know what a Luna can do ultra late, but throughout the mid game for the next 20 minutes or so, I don't see how Aster comes back into this.
They have to play around when LGD pops their ult. Like, right now, all of these ultimates are on cooldown. This is the time where you should be applying pressure on your own. You have your Overgrowth up, you have Eclipse, you have Dragon Form. You should be making a move when you see them commit that hard. You know, you respawn, you reset, and then look for a kill. Because they don't have their RP, they don't have GS, Global Silence, they don't have Wukong's command, they don't have Omni Slash. That's your opening. Unfortunately, Aster probably feels a bit pressured to use that moment to farm up, really.
They found another. Chalice is just so on point with those skewers. He's just blinking in behind them and skewering them back. And Arme just cleans up. So Fenry now, not on the map. That will open up the tier 1 tower to be easily taken by Arme. While the rest of LGD, they're just sticking as 5. Chalice, he'll TP out. He wants to defend that top tier 1 tower, but now the RP onto the Dragon Knight. He can skewer him back, and he will do so. Now the Global Silence, double Boundless Strike as well. But Lover, well, I say he's dead, but we've got to wait and see. Nice stun comes out. Chalice going to make the chase. Nice blink out as well, and Lover can actually get out of this one. It looks like he can. Nice play from Lover. I really didn't expect him to get out of that one. Meanwhile, bot lane, Omni Slash all over the place. Again, that disruption saving Sylar for the moment. He will finally end up falling. FY picks that one up though. Arme can't afford to lose his life here. That's a lot of gold that's going to be given to the way of XXS. And he actually managed to get out just because of that Lucent Beam coming out of FY. That mini stun was just enough for XXS not to be able to get that right click. Though FY may have to give his own life away for this, though he'll happily do so, I'm sure. He is juking around and he actually forces out the Overgrowth.
Oh gosh, that's a lot of value from FY's play there. He saves his jug, he forces out the Overgrowth. That just opens up, I mean, that removes the threat of a team fight while their ultimates are down for LGD. So they're going to feel fairly safe until Global Silence is back up. Without that Overgrowth, you're not going to have as much control as you'd want on Aster's side to take a team fight. And I guess LGD is definitely very happy with that point.
I don't blame. I mean, the thing was, FY was basically dead anyway, right? Like, yeah, he's being annoying. He's making time for his team to catch up and help him out if they really want, but I guess you just throw it out there, right? Like, hero kills mean so much again this patch. Just throw the Overgrowth out. Just get something. So, top lane, can they protect their Luna? Sylar getting jumped on disruption is nice from Baboka. Skewer actually completely whiffed, and now the Eclipse coming out. Somnus falling very, very low. He will actually end up falling now. XXS, this is the chance they really needed. Arme comes in, cleans up Sylar, but now he's going to make a run for it. And XXS stun is actually dodged very nicely from Arme. Lover tried to get it. He will end up getting X-Nova anyway. Still a very successful team fight for Team Aster. LGD. I feel like it was that missed skewer coming out from Chalice that really screwed it up for them.
Yeah, the fact that, the Luna managed to live long enough to cast that Eclipse and take out your Monkey King definitely cost him that team fight. Really unfortunate. It happens to the best of us. Sometimes you misjudge based on your perspective. You just don't get the right move out. Very fortunate for Aster. That does give them an opening back in. I mean, they took that team fight without Overgrowth. So if they had control of Overgrowth, along with the damage from Eclipse, I feel like they can probably take another few team fights and even out the scoreboard.
We'll see what they get done. 16 to 8 now. The net worth has lowered to 3k, and it certainly feels slightly more even. So Aster, they are keeping up and in fact catching up. Sylar has the Dragonlance up, is going to be going straight for that BKB next, which I really don't blame him for that itemization, but at the same time, you've still got to be worried about that RP, and you've still got to be worried about that Omni Slash. So there's a lot of faith in Baboka to make sure he gets those disruptions off every single time, which he has so far. So he has been on point with that, at the very least.
Yeah, he definitely has. He's saved a lot of his teammates from all of those big spells coming out. And as you mentioned, a lot is hanging on Baboka as their sort of counter initiation to really break that combo out, coming out from LGD, at least saving one hero, preferably the Luna, of course. But, XXS on that Ursa is also a fairly good target. The Dragon Knight's not too bad as well, although I feel like Lover isn't in as much danger for the most part. He is pretty tanky. If they jump him, they can follow up easily.
They're looking for Fenrir on this Treant. They did get the dust off onto him, but they went the wrong way, unfortunately. And, well, I guess that's due to the Nature's Guise change. Like, you can just run into the tree line like a Broodmother. And it's very, very hard to catch him out. LGD, they will just start dewarding the enemy jungle. It does look like Lover on the front lines there. He does have a Heaven's Halberd up now. Spell still, it will just be the Breathe Fire that comes out from FY. That Heaven's Halberd, though, could be very effective, especially against that damn Monkey King.
Yeah, we do have like a couple of Heaven's Halberds now. Monkey King himself also has a Heaven's Halberd for use on, I assume, XXS's Ursa. It's going to be pretty significant to stop an Ursa from attacking, of course. And, it's going to be a case of who jumps who first. Again, LGD has all of their ultimates off cooldown now. So does Aster. But usually when you see LGD's cooldowns off, they're the ones on the offensive. They want to make use of that RP. They want to make use of that Global Silence. Wukong's, they just want to use all these big teamfight spells, force a 5v5, and then take an objective.
Looks like mid lane. LGD, they group up again. They will go for a smoke rotation. The question is, where do they go? They'll make their way through the enemy jungle. The options, I mean, obviously they want to get Sylar again. Sylar's always going to be the priority as this Luna, because if he never gets online, then it's just, the game's just never going to go well for Aster. And they are looking. Sylar, oh, he runs back into the jungle. Have they spotted him out yet? Yeah, FY's found him. The lift is there, and with that, Somnus jumps in. There's just no way to survive this. He can throw out the Eclipse if he really wants to, but it's definitely not worthwhile. In fact, I believe that's what they wanted anyway. Fenrir does end up walking in pretty late to the party, but with that, now they'll go for a Roshan. And John, we talked about this earlier, but you never, as an Ursa, you never want to be able to give a Roshan away to the opposing side.
Yeah, definitely. So you want to get all of the early Roshas as much as possible. You want to secure that early advantage for yourself and your team. And, he does get the kill on X-Nova on that bot lane. Nice solo kill for him on a support, though. And he will lose out on that Rosh. Second Rosh going the way of LGD. That is the cheese as well. And no contest coming out from Aster.
And they found Fenrir.
Yeah.
Again, Chalice, I mean, he had that one bad skewer. The one bad skewer that cost his team quite a bit, but he just gets straight back into it, just skewering everyone all over the map. With that Aegis, with that cheese, where do they go now? It looks like Arme's just happy to go back down bot lane and just keep farming up. There's still 2 tier 2 towers on the map, so no need to rush this. Somnus again pinging out Sylar. He could probably just solo Sylar if he really wanted to, but you've got to be afraid that there's supports behind him. BKB now up for Sylar as well. He should have seen that Monkey King jump, and it looks like he has. With that though, with that BKB now that he has a 10-second charge, he probably feels a lot safer to stick around and farm because he does have a way to get away from that from a gank situation if it does come.
Yeah, it definitely helps him for his peace of mind. He can push out in lanes a bit more. You know, not that Aster has got much of a push at all. Again, those tier 1s are still up for LGD, Mike, so their map is still pretty closed out for Aster.
Yeah. Now, he'll just get started on the T2 tower. And there will absolutely be no contention from Aster. They will continue farming up, which I believe is probably the best thing they can do right now. Though LGD are going to start knocking those tier 3 towers, and Arme, with that Empower, takes it very quickly. He has an Eye of Skadi up now as well. He's hitting for 200 per right click. How do they engage that? Fenrir gets lifted up by FY. It actually screws up the skewer, but he still goes downhill, and Fenrir will lose his life. Arme does fall to half HP, mind you. He does still hold the Aegis, so does he really care too much? Probably not. They do have a cheese sitting there on Somnus as well if they do want to give it away to Arme. He did use his healing ward a bit earlier on. Looks like they'll just earn him up. Or Spirit Vessel, I should say. Aster. Just holding their position. Chalice looking for an RP attempt. They will make the jump first on the side of Aster. Global Silence was there. Now forced up as well. Chalice, he couldn't get the RP off though with that Omni Slash. Lover just rips the DK apart, and now they want Fenrir again. Though Arme not looking the healthiest in the world, and Silo will BKB walk out of there. Arme not willing to give that Aegis away quite yet. Now they'll jump into Somnus and the Overgrowth as well. Nice balance strike though, and FY stole the Eclipse again. Oh my, FY. And with that, Aster definitely going to lose a tier 3 tower at this point. Arme is falling low, but again, he has the Aegis, he has the spin. And with that healing ward, he will heal up to full HP very, very quickly. Fenrir just standing there thinking about what he's done. There's really just nothing he can do to engage, and they will just let that bot Rax go. And John, it looked okay for Aster, but when FY stole that Eclipse, it just seemed like it was all over.
Yeah, FY again on that Rubik, showing us why Rubik is his hero. Just really turning that team fight around. It looked pretty wonky for LGD. They did manage to get that RP off. You know, they were trying to fight into that tier 3 on the high ground. Aster was looking pretty healthy, but then that stolen clips. Just really, really wonderful plays coming out from FY in this game so far, Mike.
Absolutely. Of course. Oh, Fenrir. Oh, excuse me, not Fenrir. It is Sylar. Gets jumped on. BKB is forced out again. Fenrir is actually there to help out this time around, although he will lose his own life for this. I mean, well worth it for the side of Aster to trade the tree in a way, but still, you don't want to lose any supports if you don't have to. And it looks like LGD, they're looking for more. They have found XXS, although Somnus apparently was the victim for a moment. XXS was the one attacking him. And this Monkey King is actually very, very tanky. I believe they did chop the tree down, so he was stunned for a while, John, but he really didn't cop any damage.
Yeah, I think you have to consider the armor changes for, you know, damage reduction calculation on armor. Basically, every point of armor you have is, you know, every point of armor you gain is even more valuable than the last. And Monkey King has a lot of armor right now.
Well, nice skewer back again for Boca. He will end up falling. Chalice, he's just so on point with these. Sylar trying to harass them a bit with those glaives. Fenrir does have the Overgrowth available. They may be able to take down that Aegis. It doesn't have much time left on it anyway, so I think Arme will just stick around. And in fact, no, he won't. He'll just spin and get the hell out of there. But now it does expire, and with that full HP coming his way, he wants to make a jump. Omni Slash is there though. What an unlucky bounce. My goodness, that is very unfortunate. And Arme, they will still end up getting Lover. And they will go for that mid-Rax and Aster. I don't know how much more they can do. The skewer will not connect this time around. Sylar was ready for it, though they do end up losing their melee Rax. And we're now 15k net worth behind of LGD. And it looks like they're ready to jump again. Somnus sticking around, throwing out a stun. If you're on the side of Aster, John, what the hell would you be doing to turn this around right now?
I'd say you probably need to secure the next Roshan somehow. You do not have the map control to do so, though. So if that's not available, try to clear out your bot jungle. I think you still have some amount of control in that area. Clear out the wards there. Try to get your Luna farming up. maybe have her get one more big item, and then you're pretty happy to try for the next run of defense. I have to say, the combination of Shadow Demon and Luna is actually not working out too well. They have not pushed too much. The tier 1s up top and up mid have finally fallen a while ago. I mean, it did fall a while ago. But I don't think that was from active pushing. It's just from being ignored a bit by LGD while they were doing other things, like pushing out bot and, forcing team fights. But Aster themselves have not been able to actively push as much. They have been split pushing with 1 or 2 heroes while they farm. But as a team, they've just been focused on trying to get some farm around the map and securing it. It's not been working out. Again, LGD is just playing around their cooldowns a bit too well, and Aster is not punishing LGD outside of those cooldowns, Mike.
No, absolutely not. You see Somnus as well, bot lane. He's just really just stalking Sylar on that Luna. Just will not leave this man alone. Sylar, though, you've got to give him credit. He has caught up substantially in terms of net worth. Almost at 15k now, 3rd place on top in terms of that net worth graph, but he's still about 8k behind the Juggernaut, which is pretty much 2 main items, 2 core items you could get. And Arme does pick up a butterfly for himself. It's just, how do you stop this Juggernaut now? He's going for the Aghanim Scepter last as well, so that Omni Slash is going to have so much more value. I don't know. LGD, they've just got so much control over this game. It looks like Aster, though, they will try. They are going to smoke up as 5. Who can they catch? If they can catch Arme, it seems like it'd just be massive for them. Though Chalice is there with the Shadow Blade, just waiting, and he might even break this smoke. In fact, no, they found the Monkey King. The RP is available, and he'll find 2 of them. Though, no follow-up quite yet. Now the Eclipse comes out. Omni Slash is onto 3 heroes, John. It's a lot of damage. Sylar, the only one left standing. There is a nice overgrowth coming out, but again, FY stills the Eclipse. And with that, a full team wipe. They call GG.
Jesus.
And John, can you blame them? How dominant was that team fight?
That was just... Oh. It must have felt bad for Aster. They get the good jump on Somnus, on that Monkey King. Isolate him for a while, but the follow-up from LGD, they were ready for it, Mike. Global Silence immediately, RP comes in, Omni Slash is off, and just cleaned up so well. Really well played from LGD. Aster, felt a bit rocky, I have to be honest, Mike. Hopefully they get on their feet, brush it off. It is best of 2s all day, so hopefully for game 2, they can draw this series out to a draw, 1-1. But we'll see how they adapt. LGD looking really good in this new patch, just playing really, really well, man. I mean, 30 to 10 at 33 minutes is pretty fantastic, if I do say so myself.
Oh, I'd have to agree with you, John. And if I may, while we're in the, just for a moment, few quick call-outs. Arme, 12-0 with 7 assists. X-Nova actually had 38 stolen intelligence. That's quite a lot for how short that game was. That is impressive. Apart from that, those are the 2 main standouts. You've got to give Arme... if you were going to pick an MVP, I mean, this man... Like, sure, you could say FY or Chalice, because they were really setting up all these kills, but that is some insane farm on a Juggernaut. I guess it's to be expected in a sense that, he does have Empower. And with that, I suppose we'll leave the chat to talk about who the MVP could be. John, we'll be right back for game number 2 in just a moment, guys. Hopefully it won't be too long. LGD versus Aster. We'll be right back.